Hello.
Hello, friends and lovers. My name is Tom Catt, and welcome to another episode of Catt Chatt. I am joined by an absolute hunk of a man. I'm talking about Kelsey McInnes's boyfriend, cosplayer, uh, armor aficionado, armor smith, foamsmith, I think is the appropriate
Yeah,
term to
Tom
use.
Smith.
The creator of Rurouni Kitchen, and the Facebook page Cosplates, my love and yours, Danny Do.
How's it going?
Danny, thank you so much for being on the show tonight. I really love having you on.
Yep, really just a lucky break with work. Just not working first shift. Honestly, it's the only week I'm doing first shift, so I have my free nights this week. So
Yeah,
thanks for having me.
I was very fortunate that you were able to make it tonight because I know that you were doing the job thing.
Yeah,
Like so many of us have been able to do this quarantine work. Who is
hopefully.
she? I don't know who she is. I can't read all that stuff. I don't know who work is. No. I wanted to have you on the show because number one, I adore who you are as a human being. I adore who you are as a person. You are kind, you are gentle, you are sweet, you are sincere, and those are just your recipes.
That's a pretty good way to put it. I mean, like all recipes can always be improved, and I'm always striving to be just better. Learning. If I'm wrong, I try to learn and do better.
Yes,
I mean,
as nature intended. I'm learning that a lot myself, actually.
yeah. Like, I mean, nobody's perfect. Where I say very few people are perfect in, I guess, the eye of the beholder. But like, really, it's just striving to be better than the day you were before.
Yes.
Yeah, at least that.
So let's dive into the conversation.
Right.
You have been, and I've known you. I want to say me and Danny? When did you and I meet? We
It
met
was New York Comic Con. I would want to say either
4 years ago.
yeah, 4
5
years
years
ago.
ago? 4 or
Yeah,
5 years ago. Um, I'm walking. I think I was in like Catwoman or
yeah,
something.
Catwoman. We're outside.
I just hear Danny scream Tomcat, and I'm like, who the hell's calling my name? And I see Danny as Gotenks.
Yeah, I was working Funimations.
You were working for the Funimation
Yeah,
booth at the time.
yeah.
And from that moment, it was love at first sight. To those that don't know, Danny is a military veteran. He was in the Navy. I don't know. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that.
No, that's fine. That's my clearance is gone, so it's good.
And as such, Danny was graced through his own efforts a magnificent body. And of course, as soon as I'm called over, I'm like, muscles calling me. Don't mind if I do. But Danny has been a cosplayer. Of course, because of the advent of COVID, no one's really been cosplaying as much. But Danny has been a cosplayer for, I want to say, about 6 or 7 years.
I would say 5. Actually, I didn't start until after I got out of the Navy.
It's that short.
Yeah. So it's like just under 5, just over 5 rather.
Okay.
I started like right before I got out the Navy, which was about a little more than 5 years now. So
okay.
Yeah.
Well, number one, I thank you for your service.
Thank you for your support. I mean, it's a little tougher here, and I guess thank you for your service, just with everything going on.
I know.
Yeah.
I've thanked nurses. I've thanked military workers. I've thanked just about everybody you can thank within reason.
Right.
And as such, yes, I thank you, and I understand why you would say
that.
So when I first became friends with Danny, I noticed he adored cooking because he would cook every time there would be a Katsucon, Magfest, Hallmat. Danny was always there, in the kitchen, cooking up something majestic. Now, I'm very fascinated. When did you learn that cooking was a passion of yours?
I'd almost want to say, like, when I mean it's gonna go a little bit further back, but
Please,
my
by all
parents,
means,
yeah,
let the people know who you are.
my parents, they immigrated over from Vietnam. They got into like a refugee program. Both of them were in the refugee camps. They traveled over and were able to get to America. Landed free, and we were pretty poor. We lived in East Boston, some projects areas, and no cable. Dad was working his way up, and we finally moved over to Revere. When we got to Revere, we actually finally got basic cable. So like after like 10 years of living in East Boston, we finally getting like actual things to watch. And for some reason, the Food Network was like right there. Turned it on, and those things I could never eat. Because my parents always cook Vietnamese food, and so like that was the things we had. So some of the nights my parents were all right. Well, we hit spaghetti night, and spaghetti night's one of my favorites because it's like kind of the things where like you get to simulate, kind of to like American culture. Went to school, all the school meals were like different from what I'm normally eating. So like watching Food Network, I get to watch things I could never eat. It was kind of like, oh my god, I finally get to have this, but I can't really have this unless I make it myself. So like just kind of just making just simple, like everyone's making grilled cheese sandwiches, tomato soup, just even just breakfast like with scrambled eggs, just kind of slowly picking up. And then I would say I think in high school is when I really just started kind of exploring with, because I had money now, I could buy my own ingredients. I could definitely just start cooking things, and it was kind of stagnant. Like I knew how to cook, and then I would say when I joined the Navy, I started exploring my own recipes and just actually trying to cook like real meals. Oh, excuse me. So
better out than in, I always.
that's fair. So just kind of start cooking then, and I kind of just enjoyed cooking, and it kind of just kept stacking on and blossoming into something bigger. And I would say the last couple years when I really got dove deep into like I fucking love food. There's so much things about food brings people together. That's what I love about it. Like you could change something up and nothing changes, or I will say nothing changes, but like you could kind of freestyle it, like go with the wind.
There really is no wrong way to cook a meal.
Right.
You can always add
Sometimes I would
something.
say
I
like
mean, there are
don't
obvious.
overcook a steak. Do not overcook a steak. That's what I would say.
How do before we continue any other conversation? Inquiring minds want to know, how do you like your meat?
Medium to medium rare. Like that's like my preference. Anything beyond that is kind of like iffy. Medium well is like salvageable, but like again, like medium is like my preference. So when everything within the steak, the fat, a lot of that stuff breaks down. So that's when I think it's the perfect steak. But obviously everyone has a preference, which we can't really fault people for that.
Of course,
Some people like things differently.
I personally like a medium myself.
Right. Yeah.
But do continue. So your family immigrated over to East Boston, and over time you were able to accumulate a know-how and knowledge of cooking and food. And then when did you enter the military? When did you?
I joined. I knew I was gonna join it. I waited about a year after I graduated high school. It was kind of one of those things where like I really just did not want to go to college. Like it was just I do not like school, and I already dislike the education system in America. It is absolutely
I
garbage.
can't possibly imagine why. We're some of the smartest people in the universe.
That's a good one. But my dad kept kind of pestering me about that. It was like, hey, you should probably join the army. I was like, no, no thanks, Dad. And then after a while, I was really like thinking like, what should I do? If I'm gonna go to college, I kind of end up flipping a coin. I laid the heads 3 times on to join. So I asked my dad to drop me off at the recruiting office, and I became a radar technician on USS Michael Murphy and a couple other ships, but primarily USS Michael Murphy, which luckily for me, I got stationed over in Hawaii for 4 years. So I mean, my time within the Navy was really fun.
Again, a fabulous, fabulous time. Like Hawaii just sounds like a paradise.
Yeah.
I think before we went live, me and Danny were talking about how there are times when you'll like look down a street and you'll see hookers doing blow or a homeless person doing something sinister, and you can still take a picture of it, and it'll be picturesque because it's
Yeah.
Hawaii.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like it's just almost clear skies. If on the off chance it's raining, it'll be gone in like half an hour, maybe an hour tops. But after that, it's fucking clear skies again, sunsets, and Hawaii music
So
playing everywhere.
I'm curious. Did you pick up any before you created the things that you created in Hawaii? Did you learn about customs, and did you learn about culinary customs?
No, actually, I just kind of just was like a home chef, just cooking simple meals. Like I wasn't doing
Okay.
anything crazy. Kind of just had some roommates. We just would always grill out. But I used to grill a lot when before I joined during high school times. But when I was in Hawaii, like that's all we did was grill because it was so accessible. Like where there was never a bad day to go outside, grill some food. So I guess I picked up a lot of like kind of barbecuing in Hawaii. So
Okay.
Hawaii barbecue is also kind of big. So
I'm a sucker for
yeah.
caramelized pineapple.
Oh yeah, that was like one of my favorite things. Just toss a couple pineapples on the grill, and that was the best like fruit salad, I guess, that you could have. Just the subtle sweetness and the subtle, like tart. It was perfect.
I've been
Really good
called a fruit
hangover too.
salad once or twice.
Yeah.
That
Oh
was
yeah.
a joke. I too am a little dog. But no, that's marvelous. That's absolutely fabulous. So you were in the Navy, and you were doing your thing in Hawaii. What else? I'm curious. What else did you learn when you were there?
I was a pretty big drinker.
As
Like,
one does.
we would get off our shift, and me and my roommates, who also were on the ship, we would just drink. Uh, our fridge always had about 40 something beers, and we just drink every day. It was pretty bad. Um, but I got a lot more into I would say I won't say a lot more in fitness, but I got a decent, kind of hobby for fitness and kind of enjoyed it a lot.
Okay.
Um, did a lot of working out, did some runs, destroyed my legs because of that. But that's it.
We're all
Right?
thankful
Yeah,
for it.
yeah. I would say more so my fault than anything, but it happens.
I mean, it really in terms of fitness, because I think weren't you part of a cosplay fitness group at one point?
I would say on and off. Like, I mean, I'm always like invited to a bunch of the groups. And then Facebook never just shows anything else, so then it kind of just fades away. So
That makes sense.
yeah.
So cosplates.
Right.
Let's talk cosplays.
So
So you go to conventions, you cosplay. Now, I don't know in terms of how you prioritize any of this stuff, or how you prioritize the hobby, but I would probably say that cooking is much higher than cosplay ever was, in your opinion.
it was funny. I would say 3 years ago, my buddy, he was a head chef to a restaurant, and he actually asked me to work with them to help create the menu because the restaurant was new, and I was down for it. I was all in, and he stopped me and was like, "I know cosplay, however, right now is what you're really into." This is what, like, I would say my second or third year in cosplay. I would say a convention every other week, maybe like at least once a month.
Sounds about
And
right.
yeah, man, I think that was the second year I've known you for, and I was just all about cosplay.
You
And
were
he
going
stopped
hard.
me.
You were
Yeah,
going hard, but I mean, you did it well, and you still do it well.
yeah, it's just passion. Like, I mean, some things, some hobbies fade, but hobbies, that's the nature of hobbies. So yeah, he told me and stopped me. It's like, before you completely agree on this, just know it's a new restaurant, and you might get a day off once or twice a month. Like, you are working 6 to 7 days a week. And I was like, oh, it's like, I'll give you the night to think about it. And I actually declined his offer to work with them in the kitchen. And I still kind of helped him create some of the menus, and some of them were on Fana Gourmet, actually. which is pretty fun. Um, some of the ideas kind of based off of Shokugeki, like some of the ideas stem from
Yes.
that, but like Shokugeki has just a really big kind of I guess ideology about how I like food.
Mhm.
Like food is just balance of food, but like you toss more chaos and more chaos until something works. Um, like
Sounds like
that.
that's your
Yeah,
brand.
it's my best way to put it. Like you can balance things out by subtracting, or just throw more things in until something works.
Until it works.
Yep. So, cosplay went pretty well for some good time, and then after a while, you just kind of get burnt out if you're kind of just
I mean, doing a
all
convention every other week is
yeah
exhausting.
yeah. So especially with this quarantine, it kind of really kind of pushed cosplay on the back burners.
Mhm.
Definitely slowed down on a lot of commissions or weren't taken a lot, to be honest.
Well,
Um,
that was the other thing you did. So before we I had mentioned that you did foam smithing.
yeah,
We can certainly talk about that, but please
yeah,
continue the story.
yeah. I mean, like I was at one point, like in a couple months, I had dozens of commissions done in like a month or 2 months time, and just after even 6 months, like that slowed down drastically, and it just kept wearing down. I was pulling all nighters. There are some times where I think before Hamat one year, I pulled within 2 weeks. I did 4 24-hour like build sessions and a couple 2 days where it was like 50 was out.
I
54
remember
hours was my longest period of just staying awake and just working on props. It was really rough.
I remember
Um,
you
yeah,
were I think I remember checking up on you during that, just making sure that you
yeah,
weren't
oh
driving
yeah.
yourself
And
crazy.
I'm still waiting for some things to dry, so I'm sanding some other props. I'm like,
Yeah.
it was it hurt. Just physically, it took a really big toll. I mean, try to stay up for 2 days straight, just
Mhm.
standing, getting like 12 hours of rest and doing it again. Like it was rough, but I mean, everything looked amazing at the end. The group came together. It was Kingdom Hearts, Organization 13. So
Yep.
that was a really big group that we all were just pushing for, and everything just happened last minute, like part by part by part.
Mhm.
So it was definitely an exhausting time. And after that, I think I toned it down a lot the following years. So
Well, I mean, you got a taste for it, and you made the cognitive decision to say, "I need to slow down."
yeah, like
But
it was hurting.
yeah, I completely and totally get that. So, tell me about the page Cosplates. We can talk about Rurouni
Yeah,
Kitchen when we're done talking about that.
yeah,
So, you
of course.
created a page called Cosplates.
Yeah.
Tell us.
Uh, didn't go too far. Like the whole point of cosplays was to kind of like showcase just uh pop culture food and everything like that. Doing kind of cosplay and foods, which came to play with cosplays, which is kind of playing with your food. Um, Eventually, it kind of turned into like just dinner parties, like conventions, are just make food. And there's a point in GiantCon where I just had a bag of just like box box meals, and I would
Mhm.
just sell it. Like it wasn't even for too much profit. $5-10 a box.
Yeah.
Um, but we would just get together, me and like Chris and Robin, Jimmy, and all of them. Like we just get together, the people we usually cosplay with, and invite them over. Or I mean, we were already rooming, and I would just make a feast, and we all just eat. Friday would be like the small kind of stop by or grab a plate. And then Saturday would be just the big dinner after everyone's done cosplaying. We all come back for like our first like a round of drinks and kind of come together as like a family in a sense.
Mhm.
So cosplays kind of became just eating at a convention and then just enjoying company, enjoying people for who they are. Like if you can make it, you can make it. If not, then it's not gonna hurt us at all.
Well, I mean, the beauty of conventions is their networking events.
Right.
So when you go to these giant parties, these giant costumed affairs, you become familiar with so many people,
Yeah.
and the more you go, the more you realize, hey, you don't live far from me. Do you want to like chill? And do
Yeah.
you want to come over? Do you want to? And like that's how bonds are formed. And when you throw food into the mix, I mean, my
Yeah.
goodness.
I mean, like I always love using food as like, I mean, like a lot of my I won't say first dates, but like a lot of like the third or fourth dates, when I meet the parents, I'll cook them a meal. And I don't think I've had. I mean, it hasn't happened too often, but like there hasn't been a time where they weren't impressed.
Mm-hmm.
So like it was one of those things where like I could use this to impress people. Like like a big set of skills. I guess I'll humbly say. Um,
Brag, for Christ's sake, Danny.
maybe I do, but like cooking is one of those things where like I don't mind just sitting in the kitchen and just cooking all day. There's one Otakon where um Julia was, just she's hanging out with us, and Julia had nothing going on, so she didn't go to the convention, and we kind of were just there just to be just hanging out with friends. And I was cooking, I would say like 8 or 9 hours straight, and I just had music blasting. I was just enjoying myself. And Julia just looked up, was like, "You need a break?" I'm like, "No, I'm okay. Hey, try this. I needed you to try this too." And she was like, "All right, I won't say no." And I was just spoon feed her food, and she was like, "This is great." She's just laying on the couch, just kind of hanging out, and I'm just spoon feeding her food. So
I if there's one thing I can say, and I mean this quite sincerely, I have never seen a closer group of friends. I have never seen a tighter knit group of friends than you. It's Yoru Cosplay, Chris, Aaron, Jim, Phil, Julia, just all of you guys. I love seeing your posts. Sometimes I like being a part of those posts. But I do. I genuinely love and adore every single one of you for the friendship that you guys have cultivated for yourself.
yeah, we like to think that too. We just enjoy being, I guess, I won't say real because that's kind of cliche, but like we just enjoy like it's just each other's
You
company.
enjoy shit posting. Yeah. You enjoy.
We have a lot in common.
Enjoy the camaraderie of it all.
Yeah, like we kind of just blend together. We always say like by ourselves we can't really, like we're idiots. By ourselves we're idiots. Together, actually, by ourselves we're like geniuses. When we get together, it just destroys all that entire structure. Like we're idiots by ourselves, but together it's just we have no idea what just happened, and things are just falling apart everywhere. But we have fun doing it. So
and that's the only thing that matters. As long as you're enjoying yourself, as long as you're having fun, man, and you're being safe, that's all that really matters.
Yeah, I mean, we also look out, like we understand, like, hey, like we're not gonna make this guy. Actually, I wouldn't say that, but like we're if someone's like looking really belligerent or drunk, we're like, hey, like, I'll just take you back to the room, like just go to sleep, and I'm gonna go back to the lobby and drink. So we're also like, there's a lot of people like we start carrying around like Pedialyte or like Pedialyte packets.
I was gonna say, do you classify yourself as the DP, the designated protector?
No. If you add another D and then make it drunk, then yes.
Oh, the drunk protector. Okay, that works.
Well, at least I think. Or I hope. So.
Well, I mean, I remember one Katsucon. It was you, Julia, Aaron, and a couple of other people whose names escape me. And I just remember seeing you guys jam and gel out, and it was so wonderful. Like it was really nice.
Sounds like something Robin would do.
Probably.
So Robin would just start a dance circle, and we'd all just start watching dance.
Yeah,
that's really it.
I mean the dance moves and the dances that lobby has seen.
Yeah, Robin's definitely been a huge part of that.
So talk to me about Rurouni Kitchen. This is a new something brand new that you only just launched 2-3 days ago.
I'll say last week maybe. Yeah, I've been kind of teasing it, and it was kind of tough because we originally, like, it was something we definitely were planning for a while, but we didn't know how to differentiate ourselves from like everyone else on them just on the contact market. Like it's hard to like, okay, they're just copying this or that. And I know, so videographer Mark, Chris as well, we were just planning like, how do we make something different? Definitely something original, something that piques both our interests. So we originally wanted to go with Halfway Cooks, but that name was taken. We were kind of upset about it still, but Rurouni Kitchen just kind of flowed out of nowhere, and I was like, we're going with it. Um, it's almost just food porn, really. It's we haven't done any recipes. A lot of people were like, kind of like, oh, we should include how tos, but
I
like,
mean, that's exactly what you're going to get with any type of cooking, with any type of thing that involves instructions and a way to make it happen. You'll get people who are just like, "Oh, well, you should do this. You should do this. You should do this. Maybe you should mind your business."
I mean,
The
it's
road
good
now,
money,
the road now
but
is
like I get it. I do understand. Like it'll be nice, but I would say just not yet. Because we're not sure how much more time we want to put into this, like fully.
okay.
I know the first one we did was ramen, and we teased it with a fake video with like us just making instant ramen, which is I think it was hilarious. But I got more traction than the main video, which I was like, that's kind of shitty, because I spent 2 days like actually making this ramen. I made a tonkatsu broth from scratch, and I did a 24-hour boil. So every 2 hours, I'd wake up, make sure the water levels are good, and just going back and forth. Just all right, let me just nap in my
Yeah, I
chair.
remember
Yeah,
you. I remember you posting about that.
yeah,
Chris was. I think everybody that had posted on that said it was absolutely out of this world.
yeah. I did have leftover broth with it. I did have other people try, and um, it was good. Did a lot of things from scratch, but we realized like ramen from start to finish is a really long process. There's a lot of steps that even Mark didn't realize how many steps it were, and for him to condense it down to a 2-minute video, like that was impressive. To do what like the B rolls in slow motion and everything like that. For him to condense every that again, it's food porn. Like we are making food, just making it look good. Whether it's right or not, like it's kind of hard to see because we're just trying to make things look flashy.
Of
I can
course.
still promise that like the food is damn delicious. We actually have a new video dropping tomorrow night, and it's pizza. So
I'm going to do myself a big favor right now and put Rurouni Kitchen, which to those unaware, it is a play on the show Rurouni Kenshin.
yeah,
And when I saw that, I'm like, this is too fucking good. This is too hysterical.
it does fit. So pizza's the next episode. We do did the sauce from scratch, and like the sauce is phenomenal. Just the right amount of kick, everything that like the San Marzano tomatoes, perfect for the sauce. The dough also made from scratch. Not the best dough in my opinion, but it's still really good. How everything else came together was just like I'm trying to do everything in one try. Like there are people, oh, you can do it again next time. Like it might be a next time. I'm gonna just try to do it and see what happens. Like if it fails, it fails. If it works, I mean, it better work, really. So
I mean, hey, if you fail, you fail. You get up and you try it again.
Yeah.
Now, I'm very curious. We can certainly continue talking about Rurouni Kitchen. I do want to know what your future plans are with this endeavor. But I would be remiss in my duty if I didn't ask you about the pretty patties. Now,
so
to those
that was a fun one.
I was going to say, please. I was going to say to those unaware,
Yeah.
Danny created the pretty patties, but he made them from scratch. Please, I want to hear.
So I mean, this is I would say April. It was like the midst of like quarantine, no one's going anywhere. My sister picked up a lot of baking, and I was like, well, this is stemmed from a different idea, but I was like, I need you to make those cranberry brioches. And she was like, what? I was like, I need you to make cranberry brioches that has a lot of cranberries just stuck to the outside. She's like, why? I'm like, I just need it. I'll make this. I showed a picture of the nasty patty from SpongeBob, and she's like, oh my god. So that's just stemmed from like an idea from like I had a burger before I posted a picture of, and my friend Ben was like, hey, Danny's burger is really just a nasty patty. I'm like, oh, that's fucked up. But I'm gonna make this now because you said this, and like 2 years later, finally got around to doing this. It was so we had the cranberry brioche buns, and from there it was like, how do we make this a burger now? And I was like, well, cranberries and bread, that just reminds me of Thanksgiving. So we're going with turkey burgers. It looks like I can make I was using snap peas, these little pea chips. I was like, I crush this up and just coat the burger in it, and it will look like a fuzzy green burger. Then we went on to the stems and like how do we make these little tentacle things looking like it's coming out? And I just know Swiss chard has red veins, so I took a knife and just carved all the veins out of the leaves, and there we had just the little veiny things, and then the rest of it was like, oh, that looks like gravy. This looks like just like goat cheese and like an aioli, and like we put this together, and it was one of like I'll say in like top 3 burgers I've made and like had in my life. Like it was really up there. Posted a picture and I just sent flying. Like
Yeah,
I just took off. I had no idea what happened. No idea what happened. I just took off and like next day at People's Magazine messaged me about posting that on their blog on people.com. A news channel also messaged me, and I'm at work. I'm like, why am I getting blown up with messages? And they're like, whoa, can we please post a story? I'm like, yeah, sure. When it's like in like a couple hours, because like I mean, I got this message at like 2 a.m. I'm like, why am I getting messages about these interviews? I had a couple other sites. Food Beast was another big one. I had a friend, Dominique. She definitely helped me out. She had no person, and they loved it. They posted on a Food Beast, and yeah, this is just taking off left and right. I think I had a couple thousand shares, which I mean to me that was just massive.
Mm-hmm.
And just seeing just people being like, "Oh my god, this looks disgusting," or "Oh my god, this looks amazing," or "Sounds amazing." And I mean, like again, it was just a joke burger, and that just went flying. And again,
But I mean, you've. I feel like because we're both part of the cosplay community, we should be used to the crazy and the
yeah,
insane and the stupid just gaining more likes than
yeah,
whatever is the
yeah.
flashiest, prettiest.
It's like you have this professional shoot, or you have this selfie that I took in like 2 seconds. What will get more traction? Probably the selfie by
What
some
is
random
a
kid.
selfie?
So yeah, this thing took off. Eventually got to Babish like a week later, and I was just like, oh my fucking god. Babish notices he shared this post on his page. This is phenomenal. Um,
He did. I remember asking you, well, but after, of course, congratulating you on the success of both posts, he was serious about that. No,
I think I just didn't message the right accounts because I think it just kind of get blown over on the just like fan mail, which I get.
oh, that makes
I just didn't pursue it hard enough because like I guess I didn't want to seem desperate either. Because
that.
it was a joke burger, and I wasn't expecting like that actual attraction to happen.
Mhm.
So I was kind of more like starstruck that it could have. But I mean, he still follows my main page, which is still kind of awesome. Still love his work, and
I mean, how could you not?
yeah,
Not only
yeah,
does he make fabulous dishes, he's also gorgeous.
he's definitely a good-looking guy.
He is very good looking.
Yeah. So yeah, just hearing just a bunch of this stuff just about a nasty patty. I had my cousin who lives in Houston. He was telling me how a lot of chefs are showing him a picture of this, and the guy's like, "Oh yeah, he's from Massachusetts, like you are, Peter." And he was like, "Wait a minute, where?" And he looked at me like, "I think I know who this is." And he's like, "This is my cousin." And they're like, "Oh no way!" So like people in Houston are like talking about this. I'm like, "This is like months later. Like this is ridiculous. It's getting kind of out of hand." It's like
Is it getting out of hand or is it getting you? I always am fascinated because when things blow up like this, you have thoughts because you're a
right.
human being, where it's like, do I humble brag? Do I remain reserved and
Yeah.
aloof? Do I
Oh
say,
yeah.
"Oh yes, this is me, all here, all the time"?
Yeah.
Like
It's tough.
those questions.
Yeah. Like I mean, you're thinking like, how do you actually play off of this? Because like it's actually your personality to do so. Because then you got to think about like that's not really me, but like you kind of have to try to ride with it as much as possible. And that next week, I think me and my sisters we try to do the pretty patties, and that was pretty nice too. We had each of the patties like a different burger, um, corresponding to the color they were.
Mhm.
The only one I couldn't get ingredients for correctly and just couldn't. I drew a blank because I was trying to do all the recipes that day and just think of what works together. And the blue one just did not. I couldn't do anything with the blue. I just
I was gonna,
drew a blank.
in my head, I'm like, he's probably going to say the blue one.
Yeah, the blue one was disgusting. Uh, like that was one of the, like I can count on my hands like the few dishes I just could not eat at all. where I tried, I'm like, yep, this is not working.
I mean, because how outside of artificial food coloring, how could you get it to be that blue hue?
There are, I think, is it snow pea flowers? There's certain flowers that you're able to do without food coloring and such.
Mhm.
And my local shops just didn't have anything that would naturally dye blue. I tried the whole like baking soda and cabbage, or no, red cabbage, and I got some blue, but like it wasn't like a big enough blue.
It wasn't a
Um,
deep enough hue.
yeah. So I kind of just that one I did have to kind of do just for the colors. Everything else, we were able to get just naturally. Just mom was like, "Oh my god, like is this what's after the nasty pad?" Like my mom's freaking out, so she's trying to throw all of her like Vietnamese spices to get all the colors for the breads and such. It was a fun time. Like me and my family just kind of like got together, just like all right, we're gonna try to do this. So
I mean, it sounds like a fabulous bonding experience for everybody involved.
like we were just
Because
like
there were. I remember the comments on that post was just like,
yeah.
"What do you need? What do you need? What do you need? What do you need?
Yeah.
What do you need?
Like
We're gonna."
what's next? Like how? And like it was that day. I mean, I think I was trying to cook for like 4 or 5 hours to try and get everything together, make sure I
Mhm.
have everything set at the very end. And no, that was fun. And I just kept just cooking other things throughout the rest of the year following. Like people at work were telling me about this nasty patty. I'm like, that's mine actually. So it was good.
But I mean, isn't that a nice feeling?
Yeah, like it's like I can say this, and they're like, "Oh my god, that was you." And there were some people who even were like, "I just realized who this post is about," and like, "Holy shit, that's yours." I didn't even notice the name. Like Danny, though, I don't think it's a really common name at all. Like,
No, I don't think so.
no. So like they were like,
I don't think that's quite common.
yeah, oh yeah. So they were just like, "I can't believe I let that fly by." Like that's yours. No, it's cool. So just being known like that, I mean, I was hoping it wasn't a one hit wonder. The pretty pads did get some pretty decent traction too. That was fun. So
I mean, in when it comes to memes and posts that will get traction, there really is there's no one way to be a success in that.
yeah,
Because you can literally do anything. I mean, I'm going to use Babish as
yeah,
a great example. He took dishes from different television
yeah,
shows and made food with it. I
yeah,
don't think he would have ever thought, and this is where your success comes into play. I don't think he would have thought to make a nasty patty or the
yeah.
pretty patties.
I think he was suggested multiple times. But he's always done different things.
Mhm.
Like he's done the bubble basses orders with the
He's done both
24 light
yes.
on the grease. Yeah, like he's done that. Then he did the smaller version. He picks a lot of just pop culture. And there was one time where I remember like he just wanted to make cannolis, so he found one reference in The Godfather where Tony had a box of cannolis and got shot up. And that like he's like, I don't know what it looked like, but I'm making cannolis today.
What was it? Leave the gun, take the cannoli.
Yeah, yeah. So that was the one reference he used, or I think in Matrix he made a steak because I forget who was like, I know this is what the steak tastes like, what it feels like, but I'm not really eating a steak.
Mhm.
And that's when he just made a steak. Like he just picked anything and just made food. And he'd always do that, and then he tried to do a better version if it called for a better version.
Now,
So
I, if I may pitch my
yeah,
idea to a hat, what if you did something similar but with anime, like One Piece or Dragon Ball Z
yeah.
or Sailor
So
Moon?
that's
Uh,
where cosplays would have came into play, and that's what we wanted to lean towards.
mhm.
Um, but I just think during that time I just didn't have the full time where I didn't have like my schedule wasn't like solid where I like I'm
Yeah.
working 4 days a week, 10
Mhm.
hour shift like exactly these times every week, every day. So like it was just whenever I had the time, and I don't think I had as much time when I started cosplays. So like it was just kind of one of those things where like I did a couple things and I just didn't have enough time to do things to be able to let it grow. I will revisit cosplates, but Rurouni Kitchen it's a lot easier because it is multiple people in this project.
Mhm.
So like a lot of us could get together and for one we can also enjoy our company. They also get to eat food and we just you know both like passion just everywhere, and creativity is just flooding. So it's multiple people. So when you get that synergy, like we kind of just have to keep going with it. Eventually, we will umbrella out and do different things. I'll start doing write ups. Finally, started writing my recipes down because I used to just kind of freestyle all the time,
Good.
and it's
Good.
terrible.
Good. Because I can most certainly see a Cosplates cookbook. I can
Yeah.
see a Rurouni Kitchen cookbook. I've one of the phrases that I've been using a lot lately is the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
And, especially because of COVID, there really is no limit to the amount of creativity that can be. There's no limit to the amount that can be created during these times.
Oh yeah. I mean, like I love like just comparing food to life in general. Like food, like there's people who super traditionalists, like you have to do it this way and that way. And again, perfect, it's great. But there are times when you gotta change and kind of go with the times, or some people like it this way, some people like that way, some people lean right, some people lean left. Like people go straight, people go curvy, topsy turvy.
You'd say
Food,
potato, I say vodka.
yeah, exactly. Like food, like it's ever changing, it's always flexible, it's fluid. There's almost no right or wrong way to do most foods. I would say like there are some wrong ways to do it, but at the end of the day, it's like if that person enjoys that food, like why not? Like one of my guilty pleasures, I love Lunchables. Like that's one of those things where like I can sit down, and I have done this multiple times. I'll eat 5 pizza Lunchables in a row, and I'll be like, "This is delicious."
Yeah.
And I love it. Like, but then I'll go and get some gourmet pizza.
That is so on brand for you, Danny.
Yeah.
Only a cinnamon roll would love Lunchables the same way. I can't.
There's something about like TV dinners or like really processed foods I just can't stand to not eat. Like I love it. Like all the food in all different styles, and like again, like if that's your flavor, just keep going with it. Like I mean, say what people like. If you're gay, that's completely fine. If non-binary, you male, female, like that's okay to be. Like there's some people who are traditional. Like if you're straight, again, that is okay. Like there are times that are changing, and like food reflects a lot on that.
The traditionalist affects how the meal is prepared, then it becomes a problem.
Yeah, like if you're gonna try to force somebody who doesn't like meat to eat meat, then like that's not right either. Like a lot of the times when we're doing dinners and conventions, I know who like actually I'm pretty good with people who are with allergies. Like if I know they don't have like fruit, I'll tell them like these.
Your knowledge of not only your friends but of the dishes that you cook is encyclopedic.
Yeah.
Because God forbid you cook the wrong thing for the wrong person, and it's just someone's gonna have to get the EpiPen.
Yeah, and like I know I try to just be as best as possible because I do want everyone to enjoy food. I want people to get together and be like, all right, like I'm at this dinner, but like I can't eat anything. Like I make sure there's a vegetarian dish at the minimum, so there's people who can eat that. I make sure there's several vegetarian dishes, so that way no one's left out in eating. Hey, like Jabri's allergic to fruit. I feel really bad for him, but I make sure like, hey,
that explains
don't touch
version.
Yeah. So I make sure like, hey, these 3 dishes have fruit in them, but these other half of dishes do not. So like he's all right, I appreciate it. Some people are lactose intolerant, some people just can't have dairy at all. Mm-hmm. So I make sure like these are made with dairy, this isn't. So I try to be as mindful as possible because I know again, not everyone has the same flavor of food. Some people can't have the same flavor of food. And again, I'm trying to be as mindful as possible because not everyone's the same. But it's what food brings together, and like what brings the group and like love together is just cooking a big meal and having everyone just enjoying food. So I think that's close to what life is about, just enjoying life no matter what the ingredients are. I guess that's a good analogy for that.
I was gonna say I can't sing your praises enough. You are truly an everyman, and I am grateful to know you. I am honored to be your friend.
I'm honored as well.
I'm thankful that the world has Danny Doe. I'm very happy that the world has you.
Yeah, that's
so. The question that I am fascinated to ask you, and this literally just popped in my head over the course of the conversation. What would be, besides Lunchables, What is your favorite meal to prepare, and what is your favorite meal to enjoy?
Hmm. Preparing wise, I would always kind of go for like a chicken and rice
Okay.
kind of plate. You know, kind of like the halal guys. Um, like just a simple like
Very
seasoned
familiar.
rice, and then just
Anytime I get halal food, it's falafel, basati rice,
yeah.
hummus,
Oh yeah,
chickpeas, all that
yeah.
fun stuff. I
I do
just
that. I love going with the lamb. So like that's like one of my favorite like just kind of prepping foods because like it's one that's just simplest to do because I just like a grilled chicken, I grill the steak, cook that up, and just chop it and leave it in a big like serving pan, and just cook a bunch of rice and leave that in a serving pan. Make a sauce and have everyone go at it. Um, like I could make that in like I could do that in an hour to serve like 20, 30 people. One of the simpler dishes I could just do, and like it's quick, it's delicious, has a little bit of everything for everybody. Favorite food to enjoy, however, I would say Korean barbecue actually.
okay.
Something about like being able again, like you can kind of cook your own food to how you like it. Some
Mhm.
like I like a lot of my thinner cut meats to be kind of like bacon in a sense, where it's like a little more on the crispier side.
Mhm.
But you also can do the marinated sweet meats. If you like a little more salty, like it's a lot of customization in Korean barbecue. Um, like you have the veggies and everything like that. Like you could never have Korean barbecue. I mean, you could, but like when you're sitting down eating Korean barbecue, like there's so many different flavor combinations that like you don't get bored. Like you're just not eating like one piece of meat every time. You're eating that with lettuce, you're eating that with rice, you're eating it with five other toppings and such. So it's
Mhm.
always changing. So like you don't get bored of it, and it's also a fun time to bring more people in together to like eat Korean barbecue. So
And I mean, I've enjoyed Korean barbecue, and it is again a sort of family affair where everyone's sharing from like different plates,
yeah,
and it's just an enjoyable time.
yeah,
Um, I do feel like in the conversation that we've had, I've definitely learned a lot about you. But one of the things that I'm very not surprised, but sort of happy knowing is that you are a family man at the end of the day. You
yeah.
enjoy feeding a large group of people. You enjoy feeding your friends. You just enjoy giving in that way.
Yeah. Uh, I'll say I get a lot of serotonin just knowing people aren't just enjoying my food. A lot of times like I picked this up from Shokugeki as well. So a lot of times like I know what my food is like. I know what I'm missing,
Mhm.
but I know it's still not like something that's like, disgusting. I know it's delicious. That's one of the things I will like. I guess I'll brag about that. Most of the time, I know my food's good. I would usually not ask you if it's good or not, and make sure everything else is set for you there. But just seeing everyone just get together and eating and just enjoying them, just seeing the reactions. Like Robin, I think Robin has one of the best reactions every time he eats my food, where he like stops and puts his fork down and just savors the moment. Like those are the times where I'm like, that's great. Just seeing people's faces and the reactions to its eating. Like I love it. Like it's a hard feeling to like pass up. Just if I could do this over and over, I will keep doing it over and over.
Well, that makes my heart so happy. I am envious of the people that get to enjoy not only your company but your food as well.
Yeah. I'll be
Um,
doing a lot more boxes and just kind of like holding off and hand delivering, which I've done. I think Dragon Con is one of the bigger ones I've done it too, and I don't think you were at Dragon Con that year, but yeah, I was handing boxes out left and right.
so for Catt Chatt, everyone's goal is to send Tom to Dragon Con
Yeah,
so that Tom Cat can enjoy all of this. I tell you, everybody and their mother has said you have to experience Dragon Con at
Dragon
one
Con
point.
is great.
You have to go. Like, okay, you've convinced me. I'm going. And then, of course, COVID happened, and I was like, well,
Yeah, yeah,
um, but no, I would love to go to Dragon Con. I would love to just chill with you and just chill with everybody.
yeah.
Robin actually said in response to putting the fork down. Sometimes it flows off the other senses, and I that speaks to me.
Yeah, it's always great. Like honestly, like if that again, food is one of like the prime like taste is a big primary sense. When you can smell that, when you see it, like you're knocking off so many other senses already, and then it just overloads everything else, and you kind of have to sit and savor the moment.
Yep.
And then when you realize after that bite, you go for another, just everything around you, everyone else is happy. So when you savor that moment, you savor it more than just the taste of the food. You savor it with everyone around you. It kind of amplifies the feeling, in my opinion.
I'm also envious of Kelsey for obvious reasons.
Kelsey's envious of himself right now. I mean, again, I haven't seen her since March. Because of COVID, it's been rough.
Right. You guys haven't seen each other in a while.
It's been rough, and we're looking at more than a year since I will be able to either fly over or Kelsey fly over from the UK. A little tough. She just sees all the food I'm cooking.
Please forgive me if this is too personal a question to ask, but how did you two meet?
She hates when I say this because like she says like we've messaged each other just kind of on Instagram. I had a picture of Riku posted, and she commented, and we kind of went back and forth. And she just stops. It's like, "I'm just gonna message you," and it just went off from there.
And then from the
So I always say she slid into my DMs, and she hates when I say that because she always like, "No, we were commenting and talking to each other before." I'm like, you slid into my DMs at the very end." So
hey, you know what, Kelsey? If he slid into my DMs, I'm sure the same thing would have happened. So be grateful that it happened to you and not me. I do have a very, very, very interesting question to ask you, and I've never actually had the opportunity to ask a professional chef this question, so I'm very excited.
I wouldn't say professional. I'm just really big on the hobby.
If you
enjoy cooking a lot,
you could turn it into a career for yourself.
I guess yes.
What is one tool or one item that you always need in your kitchen?
A sharp knife.
Okay.
More accidents happen with the dull knife. More slippage, more jumps. When you have a sharp knife, and as long as you're doing it correctly, it just works so much better. When you have a sharp knife, like you really only need one really good knife, and that will carry you for a while. I just one $20 knife that I just kept really in really good condition. Bought from Walmart. I had that for about 4 or 5 years until I start upgrading my my knife set.
That brings up another point. Do you sharpen your own utensils, or
Yes.
do you get professionally done?
I like sharpening my own because it kind of gives the fault to myself if it's not right. Like I mean, just sharpening stuff, you build a bigger bond with your tools. Just kind of like doing like maintaining it. Like people like work on their cars themselves, they get a bigger bond towards like their cars, or like you work on this on yourself. Like you feel more of a connection with it just because of that.
Yeah. I know this. I feel the same with my sewing machine.
Exactly.
If it's not well oiled, something goes wrong, all defaults to me. It doesn't manufacturer.
Yeah.
That's fabulous.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, like you let someone else use your sewing machine and it breaks, like that person obviously is at fault, but you can't do anything about that. So when someone uses your knife and like it breaks, like okay, that's when things change up. But like when you're able to like do it, when you use someone else's knife, like you don't want to do anything bad to it, so you're always more careful. But when you with your own knife, like you can kind of see how far you can push that. Like, all right, like I need a sewing machine, please. Like I know this is leather. Please please work for me a little bit. Like you can really push your own stuff like a little bit further because it is your own.
So I'm trying to think when you go to these conventions and when you start rooming, do you already have a bag or box of things prepared, or when you get to the convention, do you go out into the area and check out local wares, I guess you can say, to bring back to the hotel?
I tried, but just with like being able to try to fit everything, I've done where I brought things over. If I was able to drive, I bring a lot of my own tools and such. Sometimes ingredients, but when I'm in there, I try to do it, but like a lot of times, like it's either way too far out, or I'll just grab whatever I can at the nearest like Walmart. Like lately this year, I was really starting to build my own kit to be able to travel with. Try to build a kit so I'd be able to travel with, so I could bring my own things I know I have. I'm not short of anything. So this is year where like I have a toolbox set up where like there's like 3 toolboxes, 3 or 4 that connect and have all my spices. I have all my liquids, every utensil and like all my knives all set. So like I have all of this, and now I can like okay, I can bring this. I can fly with it sometimes if I really wanted to, and like I have my kitchen stuff, which is also another premise of what Rurouni Kitchen stands for. Is that like we're wandering, kind of like a Ronin, like a wandering samurai. Uh, like our plan later on when it's a little more safe is to be able to go to different kitchens and shoot and do videos there. So we're not always at the same kitchen doing videos. So we're wandering not only like the wandering chef, we're also going to different kitchens and testing our skills where some we're not so familiar with, and kind of just maybe bring some people over, bring people in, and they'll pitch an idea. So like that's another big premise is like we're gonna travel more and shoot more in different areas to challenge us and to really like bring more people together and visit people for one. So
I am very hopeful that in the new year, it might take a bit. I don't think we're up just yet in terms of
no,
this virus is going.
no,
Like by like 2020, by the end of 2021, 2022, we could slowly start to return back to some level of some semblance of normalcy.
Yeah.
But until then, I am very excited to see what you cook up, if you'll excuse the pun. I'm very excited for that. We have a few minutes left. Where can people find you?
Currently, I mean, I've been hiding a couple of things, but Danny Do It. It's kind of like my more personal kind of cooking page. Couldn't lean more towards food then. Rurouni Kitchen is another one you can find me at. Those are really the 2 bigger ones right now that are kind of more active. There's a U in after that O in Rurouni.
Oh,
all right, no worries.
Hold please.
Those are the 2 things we can find us at. There'll be a new video drop tomorrow. Right now it's a lot better. I won't say a lot like in that sense, but like Mark's improved drastically just in a couple of videos where like this is a video where we're wowing ourselves about like it's good. Making homemade pizza. So like that video drops tomorrow night, and really excited for that.
Having the damnedest time typing that name. I'm pretty sure I spelled it right this time.
Yeah. Oh, that's perfect. No worries at all.
Thank you for noticing.
I looked down for a second. I'm like, that should be all right.
So they can find you at Danny Do It on Instagram and Facebook. They can find you at Rurouni Kitchen on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah. I think just Instagram for now. I'm not really liking Facebook's algorithm too much.
Have you tapped into TikTok possibly?
We have. One of the kind of I guess troubling issues is that like we can't fully upload our videos correctly on TikTok because a lot of the videos on TikTok are portrait mode, and we shoot a lot of landscapes, so like, it is hard to kind of justify the same kind of style.
That makes sense.
Yeah, like we want to get into TikTok, and TikTok's kind of like a really big market. We got to do things a tiny bit differently, but we'll see what happens with that.
Especially for cooking.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like a lot of things are just kind of just cool how they do it. I like watching just TikTok.
I think TikTok is going to be the next big social media platform.
I think it already is.
I really think it is. Yeah. It is there. It is there already.
Like people, like I mean, when the Vine was out, Vine didn't have a long life, but like TikTok is taking what Vine is, and now they're making it marketable. Like, I have friends who are like they're starting to just actually make money, and they're like, holy shit, I'm making it's not a lot, but I'm making $16 out of nowhere, just posting videos up. Where like Instagram wasn't doing that with you before. Now you just post videos up normally.
Please, the disparity that I have with Instagram and Facebook and their algorithms, man, it.
Oh yeah.
I want to just take a rock and throw it at Mark Zuckerberg.
Like it's just like you have to plan your posts and everything for like viewership. Like it's just so bad.
It is. It's terrible. The algorithms it is incredibly challenging to post something and have it be seen by an audience of your peers.
Yeah,
And I
like
can't imagine that it would be I can't imagine that it would be any less easy given the material. It doesn't matter
yeah,
whether you do body paint, it doesn't matter whether you do
yeah,
cooking, singing, crafting, sewing, what have you. It is very challenging to, it's very challenging to produce on Instagram.
yeah. Like you're always gonna get beat up by a selfie for
Yep.
some reason. You're always gonna get beat up by a selfie.
A work
Like
in progress pic a work in progress pic will usually beat out a
finished
what do
product.
you call it?
Yeah,
A work in progress pic will beat out an actual professionally done photo, which
yeah,
just it completely and totally baffles me.
yeah.
So you can follow Danny at Danny Do It and Rurouni Kitchen. If you want to follow me and this
Please
podcast,
do.
live show, talk show, what have you, you can at that Tomcat. You can follow me at that Tomcat all over social media. That's where you find me. That's how you know who I am. I love you all very much. Danny, I have had one hell of a good time having a conversation with you tonight.
Yeah,
And I hope I'm hopeful that I get to have you on the show again at some point.
of course. I mean, it was fun. Like I thought. I mean, what was it, an hour? Yeah,
It
that
was
hour flew by. Just
the hour mark.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I adore you so much. I adore you guys so much. Thank you so much for viewing,
Thank you.
sharing. Again, like, subscribe, follow, share, all that fun stuff.
Yep.
And I'll see you guys next week. Ciao,
Yep.
meow.
Have a good night.
Bye.